Alrighty. Good morning, guys. Buongiorno. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, March. It's March. Crazy. Morning, guys. Happy March. Happy F1. You got practice on right now. Remember, F1 race is tomorrow, not Sunday. Qualifying today. What's up, guys? Delta 200? Yeah. You know what else is starting to look really interesting, right? That MRVL, man. Remember we've been talking about this thing? Look at this flag break. Big flag break today on MRVL in the pre-market. This is nice. AMD, what an absolute monster yesterday. And some pretty clean things to be looking for today on the future. So hopefully it cleans up a little bit there. We'll jump into it in a little bit. Dune was really good. I recommend rewatching the first one before you see it, just so you are on top of everything. Because I could see how it's confusing. I rewatched it like 2 days ago, the first one. So, great movie. I just like the whole vibe of Dune movies. That's sort of my thing. If you like sci-fi, I think you love it, right? The whole vibe of Dune is just sort of my style. It's just sick. So, yeah, good movie. Loved it. Yes, they definitely do use the buttons on the steering wheel, Chef. There's a lot of buttons. There's the most interesting part is, if you haven't heard about it, is brake bias. The brake bias is like a whole thing they're doing during the driving. They're like putting what percentage at the front brakes, a certain percent at the back brakes. Which brake is braking more? Is it more front braking, more back braking? It's a lot of stuff going on in that F1 cockpit. Definitely a pretty crazy profession there. The thing that I think, I'll just chat a little bit here before we get started. The thing that you have to realize about F1 drivers is, like, let's say you're going around like a little turn, driving your whatever car you have, right? You're going around a turn. You know that feeling you get when you're like, oh, this is a little bit quick, right? I'm coming into this turn just a little bit quick, right? You're like, oh, about to make a right turn, and slow it down a little bit. Feels a little bit quick. I don't know if I'm gonna make it around this corner. Like that human instinct has to be gone, right? If you're gonna win in racing, right? A race car driver cannot have that human instinct of, you have to know exactly the limitations of the car at all times, and you can't let that little human emotion get involved. That's like one of the craziest things, in my opinion, about racing. It's a lot more mental than anything else. Because if me and you went out there on an F1 car, we'd be taking turns at like 50 miles an hour, feeling like we're about to crash, and they're going around it at like 150. And the car is just fine, but it's your human limitations that keeps you from really pushing. And it's a matter of a tenth of a second in F1, which is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, a lot of respect over there. I love F1, man. Awesome. All right. F1, there's already electric. There's Formula E. Formula E is already a thing. If F1 went all electric, it would lose 100% of its viewership. All right. Let's get started. Press that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Yesterday, a fine day for me. But I'll talk a little bit through, I think, at least the best way I could sort of summarize my day yesterday was, I was looking for the pullback longs, right? That was all day, without a doubt, my idea, right? Pullback longs was my idea yesterday. I knew that 5108 level, that 18,060 supply level that we rejected early morning, right? We talked about that right as we ended this live stream. We said, careful at this supply, let the market pull back, right? And that is exactly what I did, and I'm very happy I did, right? Because you saw, and I'll get into this in a second, you saw that morning rejection, right? And so what I tried to do after that morning rejection was start to formulate some longs around some of my key demand levels, right? But it just was not as clean as you'd love to see. So I got a little bit stopped out on some SPY plays. I do hold my Nvidia trade, which I'm still looking very good on. But, right, while, there was a little bit of sloppiness for me yesterday again, right? This was difficult. Not always do you get this very aggressive sort of fake out candle. So this was about a 70-point candle on the NASDAQ futures that just sort of killed my confidence on the pullback longs, to be quite honest, right? I was looking for this level to sort of materialize. I was looking for that ES 5090 to materialize, right? I had this 5090 level. It was materializing. It was doing pretty well, intraday, maybe around that 5085, right? You guys can see right here. We were holding. I was setting up some longs. I was like, all right, we got our supply rejection. We got it right there. Good, right? Step one, supply rejection, pullback. Boom, we got it. Let me see where we start to materialize. And that was around that 5085, 5090 for me. And I was setting up longs, right? So I was looking for the pullback and then the long, right? So I was very happy to do that here in this area. This faked me out, got me out, right? And then you can see the overall idea was pretty much perfect, but, just was not as clean as I would have loved. So one of those days for me, right? I think I had the right idea. The execution was a little bit tough. But with that said, that was I'm just sort of summarizing my day yesterday for you guys. Never really got anything going, but I still do hold an Nvidia trade overnight. So we'll see how that sets up today. So let's get into the futures, or actually, let's pull up the economic calendar here. I'll go through and explain some of the things that happened on the futures yesterday in a little bit more detail. Of course, while we do that. So today's Friday, March 1st. Nothing in the pre-market. We got some 10 o'clock PMI and 10 o'clock consumer sentiment. And really, that's about it, right? The rest of the day, you have some Fed president speaking, which I don't really think is that important. So manufacturing PMI, consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. That's all you really need to be aware of today. Let's look forward to next week. Let's see what we got next week. Nothing on Monday. All right. Nothing on Monday. Market's not closed Monday. No. Tuesday, March 5th, ISM Services PMI, ADP non-farm employment change. Fed Chair Powell testifies. I don't know what he's testifying at. He's testifying over the next 2 days. So both Wednesday and Thursday, you have Fed Chair Powell testifying. All right. Just be aware of that. And then JOLTS on Wednesday as well. All right. So that's that. I'm gonna talk through AMD, and I'll talk to you why I felt like I couldn't find an entry on that. So it was because that NASDAQ rejection and AMD just didn't trade with the market. So that one was sort of tough. All right, let's jump into the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at what's going on today. You guys can see right here our 18,060 level, right? We had this level yesterday, and you can see what's going on today. So 18,060, 18,060, once again here, sort of here, right? Yesterday's highs, intraday, we got back above them, we moved higher, we pulled back, and we're holding it again. So today, in my eyes, is a lot about this 18,060 down to around that 18,000, let's call it that 18,030, right? All in this zone. Does this become our new high, right? Or, I'm sorry, our new low. Does this become our new low? Right here. I would like to see this become our new low to formulate that next leg higher, right? This is sort of what I've been looking for. We were watching that slow pullback, right? Slow pullback, sort of coming down lower, right, back into that 20 SMA, and then can we formulate that next leg? This is sort of the whole read that's been going on this whole week, and it looks like, to me, it's setting up, right? In my opinion, it looks to be setting up. You have that nice sort of slide lower into that 20, daily 20, nice pop, but we need to find a new low, right? We need to find a new low on the top of the previous channel highs. That is ideal. Right here. We need to defend the previous channel high as a new low. So that's what I'll be looking for today to see if that can be solidified. What are requirements for portfolio margin? Man, I don't know why you keep asking that. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's different between every broker. You go look it up. Go to Google, guys. I'm not Google, okay? I don't have a Google mind. Go to Google, type it in. Just go to Google and type it in. So right here, right here, right here, right here. 18,030, 18,060. Look for that hold today. That would be a potentially nice long entry there. Now to the upside, you have this little wick high around 18,140. That is something to be slightly cautious of, right? 18,140. Of course, up to those highs of yesterday around 18,160. I think we'd be a little bit careful in there, right? Just to be cautious on the upside as we start to pop into these supply highs. If we go to the 15-minute, you can see, yeah, I mean, as you push to the upside, right, you got to just be careful of the struggle in this area, right? That's all. Struggle in the 18,130s, 18,150s, right? As you start to push into the pre-market highs, you always do the right thing of staying slightly cautious, right? That's what you have to do as a trader. You know, as you start to push back into supply, maybe start to take some profits off if you're long, right? So watching here could be a little bit difficult as you push into these supply highs. If you get over, right, and hold above this pre-market high today, that's just another, sort of stair-stepping upside move to sort of structure this market higher. So you have this 18,030, 18,060. This is the main event level of the day. That is in my, I feel very strong about this. I'm very confident about this level today because you can see the rejections yesterday, which caused the downside, right? Very clear little flip here this morning. You can see the rejections yesterday that caused the downside that is attempting to hold above today, right? Very clear, but we need to maintain this level. All right, if we fall back under this today, guys, and we start to see this, okay, I think you're going to get a nasty drop at any point, right? Because you've seen the drops become very nasty, right? Look at these drops, man. They're nasty drops. They are definitely panic induced drops, right? The way they move intraday, you get a little bit emotional on them, right? So if you do fail this level and sort of hold under it again, I would assume there's some pretty aggressive drops towards this 17,960 today, okay? That's if you fail back under yesterday's rejections from yesterday morning, all right? All right, QQQ. The key level is 438 in my eyes. 438, it's not exactly 438, but you get the picture over here, right? I don't think it's pretty clear. You see the previous highs in this area, right? You see all in here, right? This 438, 438.50 you could call it. It's all up in here. 1, 2, right? 3, 4, and then this morning 5. I don't think there's anything bearish about this. Remember, guys, this is your, look at this, okay? Look at this daily chart. You got to make sure you zoom out. There ain't nothing bearish about this chart here, guys. It's just structuring to the upside at all times. So, no, I don't think it's bearish. If you break under it, it's very easy to know when to short, though, right? It's very easy to know when to short today. If you break under this level, like I said, you could short, okay? But overall, guys, there's nothing bearish about the trend that's been going on in the market. Here's the 30-minute chart. On and let me, I'll after we do QQQ, I'm gonna bring up another point that's that I want to get across here. So here's the next one, right? You see right here, 348.50, 348, 438.50, 438.50, 438.50, and then this morning 438.50. So that is your 18,060 level. Very important, right? You can see right here, big level. That's your hold, 438.50, right? So watch that. That's very key. 440 is your next big level above, right? Next big level above is 440. So 440, I think, is where you want to see a pretty solid hold today. Here's the problem with the QQQ for me. I don't really see an exact level over here, right? You have this high over here is 440.60. So we could put that there, 440.60. Let's just put it there for now and see if that's a area of if that is an area of importance today. 440.60, if I go down to the 30-minute chart, is pretty much just that exact wick high from right here on Friday of last week. That's 440.60. That's a level I would watch. I think 440 is a nice whole number that you might want to be monitoring as well. That's why I have that level there. But for now, I would say put a level at 440, understand where that is, but then also make sure you know where this wick high is. This wick high is exactly 440.59, right, to the dot. 440.59 is this wick high over here on the Qs. Could be a little bit of rejection to watch out for today, all right? You get above that, you hold above that, I think you move higher, and I think the main hold that has to come in today is 438.50. As long as you're above that 438.50, you'll stay higher. Under that, you move into the 436.60, the 437. All right? There was something very, very key yesterday, and I want to share it with you. All right, I want to share this with you because this was a really good read with the group yesterday. So after we had that aggressive downside, right? We had that very aggressive downside back under the 436.60 Wednesday highs, right? We had previous day highs right here. This is why you have to watch previous day highs. This is a good little learning lesson right here for you guys today. So you have to know where those previous day levels are. Yesterday, the previous day highs was 436.66 on the QQQ. Now, if we jump into the 2-minute chart here, right, this was a very interesting scenario yesterday. This might even be worth a YouTube video, actually. So let's just understand that this is your previous day high, this green level, right? And so yesterday, we'll go into yesterday's price action. You can see we tried to hold previous day high here. We failed, right? We got under it, and we quickly got back above. Now, at this point in this area, I was talking to the group because I was saying, right, let's be careful shorting back into that previous day high, right? Because we held it previously. We did drop below it, but we reclaimed it. And now that we reclaim it, right, we don't want to be shorting back into that high, right? That's a tough spot to be shorting back into. That previous day high could then turn into support. And that is exactly what it did, right? But here is why this is so important and why you need to be watching everything. Because at this same time, right, at the same time we had that happening, you had the SPY rejecting 507, right? And this is just a total discrepancy, right? Something that you need to be, this is why it gets hard, right? I'm just going to be upfront with you. You had 507 rejecting, right? And if you're just watching the SPY, and you're just simply watching the SPY, you would probably say to yourself, hey, this is a nice little rejection of the 507 major level, a rejection under these intraday lows. I'm going to try to trade some puts here, right, for more downside, right? This is a pretty logical short entry, right, for more downside off that 507. Now, the thing, if you guys are in the chat, and you guys know this if you were listening, we were saying, and I was thinking about taking these SPY puts right here. I was considering it, but what I was cautious of was the fact that the NASDAQ or the QQQ was back over the previous day highs. And that is what kept me out of that short. And sort of that realization is what saved me from taking a loss on SPY puts yesterday. So this is why I try to monitor all of them, which I know is hard for some, but I like to watch the SPY, the QQQ, the NASDAQ futures, the ES, because they're all sort of showing you certain things and some things to pick up on as you monitor them. Sorry for the tangent, but I think it's important, and I think maybe a YouTube video is a better spot to talk about this. All right, so ES, 50.85, 50.90. We had this level yesterday. You can see we had a push, we had a rejection, and we had a hold of this level, right? Pretty much perfect. I had 50.90, which I thought was important, but it seems like it's 50. After yesterday's action, you can see it's a little bit lower. It's like 50.85, 50.86 area. So I'm just going to leave it there. But that is definitely an important area here on the ES. You can see even this morning we held 50.90 pretty well, right here. The level that has to break above is 51.08, right? You need to be careful back into this 51.08 high right here. You guys can see the rejections yesterday morning. You can see the rejections late day yesterday. You can see the hold and fail under this level in the intraday in the morning. And you can see we're grinding back up into this level. So all about 51.08 today on the ES. This has to break above, okay? We have to break above this level. If you get above this level, you can continue. Without a break above this level, be very cautious longing this morning. This is exactly where if you longed here yesterday, you got smacked, right? So we're not going to long here today. We need to get over for any type of longs this morning. Or, right, you look for the long back at the demand, which is potentially, right in this 50.90, 50.85 level. All right, so 51.08, 51.20, and 50.85. Careful longing into this 51.08 here. This is 5.09 on the SPY. So here's the, and let me just go back real quick, all right, and sort of talk about, I believe, right, and everything that I've seen in the past, right, I believe this should formulate your next move through the new highs, all right? Now, the reason I say that is because this, to me, looks like a nice consolidation, right, flag and sort of structure building here on the ES. So you have previous highs. You broke above them. You retested them. You held. You made a breakout move, right? And now, for now, right, you can see that we are structuring to the upside, right? Sort of structuring to the upside. So as long as the ES can sort of hold this higher low here, around 50.85, I would assume that the ES is now going to do a structure shift back to the upside, like this, right? That is typically what you see the market do. You'll get big pushes. You'll get that consolidation back to that previous retest level. You'll pop off of it, and then the trend will begin to change, right? So if you want that trend to begin to change here, you have to start to materialize some higher lows. You cannot fall back into this level. So if you fall right back into this level, right, nothing has been built. So if you can now structure a higher low here, then I would pay attention to how this starts to build, right? Because this could sort of signal another upside move in the future if we start to create some higher lows here on a little bit of a trend change. So you basically want to see this start to form, right? Something like this. You don't want to see us fall back under. So that's sort of what I've been watching. That's why I've been talking about this retest level, and I think you're starting to see it. So let's see. SPY, same thing. You can see right here, we had this little downtrend forming on the SPY. We are above 507, which is the main level to watch, I think, and then we're watching 509. So let me go ahead and zoom in here on the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, I think, is you must hold 507, okay? I think you must hold this 507, right? 507. So I would be watching this 507 today. That's really the level that I am monitoring, okay? To the upside, 509, 509, 509, 509. We could absolutely see another rejection of 509. Right? This is exactly where, and you're already starting to see it right now, this is exactly where you rejected yesterday. You rejected yesterday late day. You fell below today. You're going back into it. And this could be another rejection today at 509. So you need to get over 509. If you clear 509 today, I think you can push to that 510 high. But you need to get that hold over 509, or I think this market could get a little weak again. If you pull back, then watch the 507. This is what sort of messed me up yesterday, right? Because overall, see this? Sort of focus on this action, right? Pretend like this isn't even here, right? Pretend like that's not there, right? Overall, yesterday was just a pullback and long off the retest level, right? That was really it. But this, not going to lie, and at the point, I only had a small SPX play, but, right, this just sort of gets you out, right? And so, unfortunate, it's because of the big gap up. It needed to fill that gap. That's just how it is, right? Not enough liquidity here. Needed to sort of move lower. So, it is what it is. That's what the market's going to do at times, and we just have to accept it. But overall, right, if I just sort of average out what happened yesterday, I think a very solid hold at the 507 retest, right? I still think that's a very solid hold for a upside continuation move. So 507 is going to have to be the level to hold. If you're above that, watch the 509. All right. Let's we got IWM. Let's see what level we at on IWM real quick. All right, so we're right above those previous highs. That's all I'd be watching. Of course, that 205, 206, that's your previous high here on IWM. Very easy there. Mike Jones, Daniel Jones, Chris Jones, Dow Jones. Dow Jones, yeah, still on the retest, man. It held pretty nicely here. Held really nicely at this 38.9. I mean, that looks like a pretty nice long to me on the Dow. All right, you got previous highs, new lows. You got the daily 20 right below it. Looks pretty nice to me. All right. So, looking good there. Mike James. Rick James. All right. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic of you. I'm Rick James, bitch. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. James Earl Jones. John Bones Jones. What else can we bring up? Like Jones? Yeah, like button Jones. Who the hell is Dow Jones? All right. Let's continue. Ad, please. It's good, man. Ad, please. Please send ad. Can we have an ad, please? All right. Tesla. It is all about this 198, man. It is all about this 198, guys. But I have a public service announcement for everyone here that could potentially save your ass. And I'm only talking to the people that are not, maybe master Tesla traders. Stop trading Tesla, okay? That's my public service announcement for you. Stop trading Tesla in the short term. This is disgusting, okay? It's absolutely disgusting. It has nothing to do with the market. It's doing its own thing. It's random. It's just not interesting. If you were just sort of saying, hey, Tesla's going to go down all day today, sure, right? If you catch it right one day, great. If you said the day prior Tesla's going to go up all afternoon, great, right? If you said the day, I mean, it's just, it has, I don't know. Maybe I'm just pissed off about my Tesla loss. Maybe that's it, but I just think it looks really hard to trade intraday. And I've had a very difficult time reading Tesla. So this looks really ugly. This is very ugly. You know, eventually, I hope that Tesla wakes up and does something. You can continue to try to long this 198, right? You can continue to try to long this 198. I think it's possible. But, like, is it worth it? I don't know. If you like it, go for it, right? If you like it, go for it. So 198, that's your level, right? That's a previous high. You could absolutely look to long off this level. It's held up pretty, decently. So we'll see. But here's the thing I'd be careful of, guys, okay? Here's the one thing I'd just be a tad bit cautious on. I can foresee, right, if the market does weaken, let's just say we do have a little bit of a weak market at some point here in the near future. This is very possibly sort of like that bear flag short entry that I'm sure a lot of larger, could be a very interesting spot. That's all I'm going to say, right? Just be careful up here. Be careful at this 210. This 210, 208, this could really just be sort of a bear flag and then sort of a smackdown for more continuation. I've seen Tesla do that, right? It sort of builds that hope. It builds that trend, right? And then you get that sort of demolition day. Demolition derby, all right? So just be a little bit cautious up here. I wouldn't be really that interested in longs, guys. And I continue to tell my group, I am not longing Tesla until it's above this level, all right? I will not long Tesla under this level because I'm not going to be exposed to demolition derby. There could be that day, right? So careful, very careful, guys, before you start really longing Tesla down here. I liked it off this 20. I didn't really catch it correctly, right? You guys remember I was sort of longing off this daily 20. I liked it, didn't catch it correctly, and now I'm definitely not interested up into this 210, 208, right? It's just too far away from the 20. It's too close to this low. Please be careful up here. I'm not going to short it. Maybe I'll short it if it breaks under the daily 20. I would only short it on a day trade if you get under 198. 198, under 198 could be a very nice day trade. I would potentially short that right here. If you can get under 198 and you turn this back into a rejection point, there could be a nice short. But here's what you have to be cautious of, that daily 20. So you could get that short, but watch out for that daily 20 right here, which could hold it up again. That's right around that 192 area, right? 192, 191, 190, all up in there. So just be careful of that. All right? Nvidia. So you guys know I'm long Nvidia overnight. Man, I love this setup. So I'm definitely going to try to see it out. I'll look to maybe put in some longer dated contracts in today. If we get over 803, that's a big if. But I like the consolidation I've seen, right? I like the hold at 770, sort of that flat bottom forming at 770. And I like the upside move yesterday. Now, there's a very big reason why I decided to hold Nvidia overnight, and that is right here, right? We had the first previous high turn into a new low in the recent trend, right? This is a previous high turning into a new low, right? This was a previous low that turned into a high. That is now the new low from yesterday. So what does that tell me? That is a change in trend, right? So I said, hey, I'm going to long Nvidia. If it's above that 785, that's the previous day highs, and we're turning it into support intraday. I like that for longs. So very nice continuation. If Nvidia can get over this 803, I really think it could start to dance today, right? It could get groovy. But you need to get over 803, right? We can't just hope and pray that it does it. You definitely need to get over this 803. That is very important. You've seen a lot of struggle up into this level, so be careful hoping too aggressively, right? You really need to get above it and hold above it. If you do that, I think you could get a pretty nice dance on Nvidia here, maybe up into like the 812s, 810s, and maybe even higher. But I like more than anything this from yesterday, and that is the pretty much perfect hold these previous highs, look at that hold from yesterday, a very aggressive bounce off that level. So Nvidia, very nice watch. And now for the main event. What an absolute monstrosity AMD was yesterday. And we've been sort of chatting about that. I mean, I know you guys know if you come to this live stream. We were talking about that 175, and wow, oh wow. Just, man. Just a rocket ship yesterday. Straight out. 175, that daily 20 SMA. Those wicks sort of gave it away, man. And we talked about this one yesterday, so congratulations if you caught this. Those daily 20 SMA wicks, just look how strong that daily 20 was. Look how strong that 175 was. And just bam. I mean, just a total bam. And probably the best entry of the day, right? If you don't want to chase things, what was the best entry of the day? That was 184, right? And 184 was the previous highs, and you will see how perfect. Violence, speed, momentum. So let me get more time here. So you guys see that 184 right here? 184, 184, 184, right? Go ahead and zoom in on that intraday. Look at that right there. Sexy, man. 184 break and retest. Absolutely sexy. Congratulations on AMD yesterday, guys. A beautiful bounce. Off that 20 SMA. A beautiful break and retest of 184. And what a continuation move. Today. Right, because that's all gone, right? It's all about today. So today, we're watching, in my opinion, I would watch this little low right here. This 194.50. That is my first level I'm going to watch. Right here, 194.50. I would like to see if AMD could give me this move right here. If AMD could give me that, right, I would potentially look for that long entry. 194.50. Let's see if that pulls back and that holds. If you break under that, I don't really like much here, right? The next would be 188. But at this point, guys, you know, it's over, guys, okay? I mean, this is not, you know, you got to look for these short-term pullbacks for new longs, but you're not going to just be, you know, chasing at every high that's created. So I would want either this 194.50, right? That would be number one. Or I would just, even though there's no level here, right? This is all-time highs for AMD. I would assume that 200 is some type of a psychological level, okay? I would just assume. It's an assumption that we'll have to see if it's proven correct intraday. But I would assume that 200 flat is some type of a psychological level today. So what I would look for, is a pullback, right, into that 194.50, and then look to see if that holds on, right? Look to see if that 194.50 holds on. If it does, that could be a nice long entry, right? If you get above this level, of 200, that could then potentially set something up. So that's what I would look for. Either over 200, see if that psych level creates something, or back into that 194.50. Those would be my two, that would be my two areas to watch, okay? So very nice on AMD. Congratulations, guys. And guess what, guys? You know how you catch yesterday's move on AMD? You know how you catch that move without even touching it, picking up your fingers? I'll show you. I'll show you right here. This is how you catch it. Okay? This is how you catch it. The moves on these stocks, these fantastic stocks that we all know are good, right? This is how you catch them with the long-term portfolio, okay? That's what you do. So just a little bit of a reminder for some of you, right? Yesterday I made $1,200 on AMD. I didn't trade options. I held shares, right? So buy shares, man. You know, stop slacking. Focus on your future. Put a little bit of your paycheck every month, every week into some shares. Buy some good stocks. Right, and you can, it's great. So yesterday, 10% of my AMD shares, I made $1,200. I didn't even trade options. So, yep, if you're sick and tired of missing these big moves and you're like, holy shit, these things just keep going higher, hey, how about you buy some shares, right? All right, let's continue. Shout out to the long-term share. Shout out Josh. Shout out to the cult. All right, let's go to MRVL, guys, because this is getting interesting. Remember this MRVL stock we've been talking about? I'm not going to talk too much about this one because we're running out of time, and this is sort of just an ancillary name. But you have earnings tomorrow, or earnings next week, right? And you have this flag break. This is a semiconductor name, something to watch, okay? Keep an eye on this. I would say, just watch out for this high here, around like 74. Could be a little bit tough. I'd want to see a hold over 74 for more upside. All right, let's go into some of our names. Let's get sort of moving here. So number one is Amazon. Amazon not interesting, just sick to be honest. Look at this little stair step on Amazon. A really clear stair step on Amazon, which is really nice to see, right? Very clean. This is very clean. You have your lows, right? You have your lows. You have your previous highs, and we talked about Amazon. We talked about that sort of stair step and that daily 20. Look how perfect this happened, right? That daily 20 catching up to price action, catching up to that 171 level. Perfect, man. So this is what you want to be looking for, guys, right? I hope you can sort of see this. It's a very clear sort of stair-stepping move, right? You have your lows. You have your previous highs turning into new lows. You have the daily 20. I like this a lot, and this is definitely something I'll be watching. So now what you want to look for is you want to see the 175, in my opinion, become that new low. So if you do pull back, look for that next entry on this stair step like this, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Entry 1, entry 2. Now your entry 3, I think, is around this 175 area. So look to see if you can catch some type of a long off this 175 for a little continuation of trend. Right? Continuation of trend. Hold that 175 and then see if you can get that further upside. That's what I would look for today on Amazon. Watch for this 175 level to hold. Microsoft. Nice little hold over this 412 level on Microsoft, but you do have some struggle at 414. All right, so just be aware of this on Microsoft today if you are looking for this. Watch this 414. It is an important level. All right, you can see right here. 414. 414 and 414 on Microsoft, and you're sort of rejecting it right now. So what I would want to see on Microsoft today, if you can get a hold over 414, I think you can get upside. Look for a hold over 414 for upside. That would be very important. If you do not get above 414, then be careful on the long side. If you break under 412, you'll probably move lower back into this daily 20, maybe back into some of these previous highs. But a nice little range right here today. I would sort of be interested to see if this can break and continue today. So 412, 414 on Microsoft. Snow, yeah, guys, I mean, I can't tell you what Snow is going to do, okay? It's impossible for me to tell you. But I will say, if you are, fixated, because I can tell a lot of people are fixated. If you are fixated on the gap fill and you want to dip buy Snow, I would simply just say to you, as long as Snow is above 185 and as long as it's above the 100 SMA, then I think it's a very possible risk-reward long side play, okay? That's about it. That's about all I could say. As long as you're above that 100 SMA and that 185, I like it for that continuation, possibly back to the upside. If you fall back under, you're coming back down here, right? And maybe you're coming down even lower, okay? That's about it. So that's all I could tell you about Snow. If you really are fixated about the dip buy, it has to be above the 100 SMA and 185. All right. Netflix. So didn't really do too much yesterday on Netflix. Didn't really move much. Yeah. That level still held pretty well. You had that 598 level, which did respect decently well, but you can see that rejection coming in again at 605. So for me, I'm not really interested here at all today, guys. Maybe above 605, maybe under 598, but not much interest there. The one that I am interested in, oh, never mind. It fell below it. I was going to see if Meta was going to hold above 490, but it did not. So not as interested. I'm having a little bit of trouble. Honestly, I'm having a little bit of trouble reading Meta lately. It hasn't really put in any clean levels. So what I like to do in this situation, right, when I see a stock like Meta that it's just sort of sloppy in here, right, and it's not really holding anything of very clear, not creating any very clear levels. What I like to do in that situation is just create a very large upper and lower band and just not touch it in between it, right? Because I don't really like this sort of. If I go to the 15-minute, right? Look at this. I'm not really jiving with this here, right? It's just not really an intraday move that's structuring higher or structuring lower, right? It's just sort of doing its dance. So when I see a dance like that, what I like to do is just put my extreme high, put my extreme low, and just do nothing, right? Do nothing and just wait for it to break and hold above one of my extremes. That's what I like to do. So I'm sort of retiring Meta in this range for now. All right. SMCI. I would continue to watch this 900 rejection possibility. It's very possible. Keep an eye on that 900. If it does break over 900, it could squeeze. So be careful of that. Apple 180. I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot of games here, my friends. So I'd be careful being ultra confident on either direction here on Apple. It's going to be dancing and dancing and dancing at this 180. So you can see today it did break under 180. It's sort of fighting back. I would just sort of monitor it as a proxy to the market. If Apple really starts to flash down lower under 180, right, then it's going to bring the market lower. If Apple regains 180, right, it's going to hold the market. So that's what I would use Apple as. I would absolutely 0% have, actually trade Apple. I would just monitor it to understand how it could affect the market. Dell, yeah, it had earnings. And it's been moving up before earnings too, man. What a monster of a stock, huh? Dell Technologies. From the grave. How much was the expected move on Dell? It couldn't have been that much. 6 Polish. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, these options are going to be up a lot today. This might be one of the biggest earnings beat I've ever seen. $6 expected move. It's up $25. That's 400. That's a 4x. That's 400% beat of the expected move. Wow. Damn. I don't know if I've ever seen that. I'm not lying. I'm actually pretty shocked right now. I'm genuinely shocked. I don't have many words to say. That is a huge beat versus expectations. Those options are going to be up a lot of money, right? Because it was only those options were pricing in $6 expected move. It's up $25. Damn. Congratulations if you're in. Congratulations if you're in Dell calls. Congratulations. You got 20 105s for next week. Goddamn. Well, congratulations, Brex. That's sick, man. Let me know how much those end up being up. Wow. All right. Well, that's a sick one. Who the hell is DeFrano? What is DeFrano? Who is that? So I don't have much to tell you on Dell here. It's straight up. So we'll have to see how it sort of sets up into next week. What did I miss? We went over Tesla. We went over Nvidia. We went over AMD, MRVL. TSM is 131 still. Guys, let's not, I could say I mentioned Dell too, right? Did you take the trade or not? I don't know, right? It doesn't matter if you mentioned it. Sure, everyone's like, oh, I told you Dell was gonna go up. So, anyways, Netflix, we went over. Not much there. Microsoft. We can go to Google real quick. Yeah, we'll go to coin as well. Google 140, right? Google 140 and the 100 SMA right here, right? That's big. That was a major rejection yesterday. We've been talking about this level, so watch 140 on Google. That's big in the 100 SMA. Coin. Yeah, I mean, coin's still holding, man, right? Coin is still very nicely holding. It's getting a lot of trouble up here around this 210, 208, which we know. But overall, right, it's a pretty good hold on coin. 193, pretty solid hold there, right? So I would keep your eyes on it, but you're going to have to sort of monitor that Bitcoin. Bitcoin's holding nicely around that 60,000. So yes, coin could absolutely have more upside. You just have to sort of trust this level and say, okay, I'm long coin as long as we're above maybe 193, and I'm going to hold this into next week. That's it, right? That's it. There's nothing else you can really do. You can't predict what Bitcoin's going to do over the weekend. You can't predict what's going to happen, but you can use your level, and you can say, I like this hold, and I'm going to, with risk management, try that long. I like it. MU still, yeah, MU off 89 was very nice. I think this could be a continuation move to watch as well. This has been a nice hold over 89 on MU. As long as you're over 89, I do like MU for more upside towards that 95. ARM. Yeah, ARM actually held that 135 pretty well, sort of late. Actually, you know what? It actually held it really well. I remember looking at this on the intraday. Look at this little trade intraday on ARM yesterday. Look at this, right? We opened the market. ARM just sort of put some wicks at that 135 and created a pretty nice upside trade. So as long as ARM's over 135, I think you're still alive, right? I think you're still alive. As long as it's over 135, I think you're still in a good situation for more longs, but you got to get an entry, I think, near that 135. Celsius, I'm sure Celsius moved higher, yeah? Yeah, big move there. Nice. All right, guys, that's all I got. I think that's Boeing. It just popped and rejected the exact same level. Look at that, 208. Wow, it really just rejected 208, huh? Yeah, we've been sort of high on that 208. Perfect level rejection right at that 208. It's dead still, man. I'm not touching Boeing with a 10-foot pole. All right, guys. I have a Dell monitor. Oh, man. Love it. Once again, guys, real quick refresher on the NASDAQ futures. I think you need to hold over this 18,060 to 18. I would say 18,030 is your extreme low. That's that pre-market low. If you break under that today, you're moving lower, okay? If you maintain this level, I don't mind that upside continuation move. You got to be careful of the supply highs. On the ES, it's all about this, I would say this 50.90, 50.85 area, and then obviously be careful longing this morning into 51.08. This is the exact level we opened up yesterday, and you saw the reaction yesterday morning. This could absolutely happen again. Be careful of 51.08. All right, guys, that's all I got. Have a fantastic weekend. If you guys could, before you head out, press that like button for me. Hopefully, a good day for you guys. Make sure you guys remember it's Friday. If you don't like anything, and I am staying very true to this because Wednesday this week, I just didn't have a great day. Yesterday, I literally traded like 2 positions with no size. I didn't like what I was seeing on the intraday, the sort of intraday action. If I see it again today, I am not messing up my Friday. Just remember that. It's Friday. If you get some of this sort of sideways action intraday, if you're not seeing your levels sort of show, and if your levels are not being respected, don't try to, don't try to move things around too much intraday. That's something that I struggle with. If my level is not being respected, if my morning game plan is not being respected, try your best not to build a reason why you should enter a trade. If it's okay, my level's not really looking too well, I'm not really feeling this, I'm not too confident, let me just hold off, right? Very hard thing to do, but I think very important to remember. So press that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys on Monday. Go Max, go Rangers, Giants suck. Go Mets. Go Knicks. And Potvin sucks. Peace.